So, you think you're brave, huh? You enjoy a good scare, a little bump in the night. Well, I have to tell you, what you're about to see goes way beyond your typical campfire story. These aren't just tales meant to give you a quick fright. These are captured moments, slivers of reality that defy all explanation. These are 6 scary videos that will haunt you tonight. Each one is a window into something deeply unsettling, something that will linger in the back of your mind long after the screen goes dark. We're going to peel back the curtain of the ordinary world and look directly into the abyss. From fleeting shadows that seem to have a mind of their own, to objects moving with an unseen force, these clips are guaranteed to make your skin crawl. The kind of fear we're talking about isn't the jump scare you see in movies. It's a slow-burning dread that builds with every second of footage, making you question the safety of your own home, making you wonder what might be lurking just outside the frame. I want to invite you to join me on this journey into the unknown. But I have to warn you, once you see these videos, you can't unsee them. They will stick with you, replaying in your head when you're alone in the dark. So if you're easily scared, maybe this isn't for you. But if you're like me, and you're drawn to the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then turn down the lights, get comfortable, and watch until the very end, if you dare. Our first video comes from a man named David, who had recently moved into an old house in rural Pennsylvania. He'd been hearing strange noises for weeks, faint whispers, the sound of footsteps on the floor above him when he was home alone. So he decided to set up a security camera in the main hallway, hoping to catch a raccoon or some other animal that might have gotten inside. For days, the camera recorded nothing but an empty, silent corridor. The dust motes danced in the slivers of moonlight, and the old house just settled. David was starting to think it was all in his head. Then, one night, around 3:13 a.m., the footage captures something that makes the blood run cold. The hallway is completely still, almost unnaturally so. There's this profound silence, the kind that feels heavy, like the air itself is holding its breath. You can almost feel the temperature in the room drop just by watching the video. Suddenly, from the deep shadows of a doorway at the far end of the hall, a figure begins to emerge. It's not a person, it's darker than the shadows it came from, a void in the shape of a tall, slender man. It doesn't walk, it glides, moving with an eerie, unnatural smoothness. As this shadow figure moves closer to the camera, you can't make out any features. No face, no clothes, just a pure black silhouette. It pauses for a moment, as if it knows it's being watched, and it almost seems to tilt its head. The feeling of dread that washes over you is immense. This isn't a trick of the light or a technical glitch. This is something sentient, something that does not belong in our world, moving through this family's home in the dead of night. Then, as quickly as it appeared, it recedes back into the darkness, leaving behind nothing but an empty hallway and a terrifying memory etched onto a hard drive. This next piece of footage is for anyone who has ever felt uneasy around old dolls. A young woman named Chloe inherited a vintage porcelain doll from her great-grandmother. She thought it was a charming, if slightly creepy antique, and placed it on a shelf in her bedroom. Her friends would joke about it, saying its glass eyes seemed to follow them around the room. Chloe would laugh it off, but late at night when she was alone, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. So she did what anyone in her situation would do. She set up her phone to record the doll while she slept. For the first few nights, nothing happened. The doll sat perfectly still, its painted smile fixed in place. Chloe started to feel a bit silly, thinking her imagination had gotten the better of her. But on the 4th night, something changed. The video shows the doll sitting on the shelf, illuminated by the faint glow of a street lamp outside the window. The room is quiet, except for the soft sound of Chloe's breathing. Then, very slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the doll's head begins to turn. It's a stiff, jerky movement, like old clockwork grinding back to life. The head turns a full 90 degrees until it's staring directly at the camera, directly at the spot where Chloe is sleeping. The movement is so unnatural, so deliberate, that it sends a wave of ice through your veins. There are no strings, no vibrations, no logical explanation for what you're seeing. It's just this inanimate object, seemingly coming to life on its own. The doll remains in that position for over an hour before the video cuts off. Chloe woke up the next morning, saw the doll facing her, and after watching the footage, she reportedly packed it away in a box and put it in storage, never wanting to see it again. Mirrors have long been thought of as portals to another world, and this next video might just prove it. A couple, Mark and Sarah, were documenting their renovation of a historic Victorian home. They were filming a time-lapse of themselves painting the master bathroom. The camera was set up on a tripod, capturing their progress over several hours. They were laughing and having a good time, completely oblivious to what the camera was picking up in the large antique mirror hanging over the vanity. As you watch the time-lapse, you see them buzzing around the room, painting the walls. But if you focus on the reflection in the mirror, something deeply disturbing starts to happen. Behind their sped-up movements, a faint shape begins to form in the mirror's surface. It's not a reflection of anything in the room. At first, it's just a smudge, a dark patch that seems to hover in the glass. But as the minutes tick by, the smudge slowly coalesces, taking on a more defined shape. It's a face. A pale, gaunt face with hollow dark eyes and a mouth open in what looks like a silent scream. The ghostly face just hangs there in the reflection, superimposed over the bustling activity of the room. It seems to be looking out from the mirror, a spectral observer trapped within the silver. Mark and Sarah are completely unaware, their own reflections passing right through this terrifying apparition. They didn't notice anything until they were editing the footage later that night. The realization that this thing had been watching them the entire time from inside their own mirror left them so terrified that they stopped all renovation work and called in a paranormal investigation team. Imagine you're sound asleep, and you're suddenly ripped from your dreams by the most terrifying sound you've ever heard. That's what happened to the Peterson family in their quiet suburban home. For several nights in a row, the entire family was woken up at exactly midnight by a blood-curdling scream that seemed to come from inside the house. It wasn't a human scream, it was something guttural, filled with pain and rage. After the third night, the father, Tom, set up audio and video recorders in the downstairs living room, determined to find the source. The video he captured is bone-chilling. It shows the dark, empty living room. The only sound is the gentle hum of the refrigerator from the kitchen. The clock on the cable box ticks closer to midnight. You find yourself holding your breath, waiting. Then, precisely as the time changes to 12 o'clock a.m., the silence is shattered. A horrifying, drawn-out scream erupts, seemingly from nowhere. It's so loud and piercing that it causes the camera's microphone to distort. The sound echoes through the house for about 10 seconds before abruptly stopping, plunging the room back into an unnerving silence. What's truly terrifying is that nothing in the room moves. The camera pans around, but there's no open window, no person, no animal, nothing to explain the horrific noise. It's a disembodied scream of pure agony. You can hear the family upstairs start to stir, their muffled shouts of, "What was that?" adding to the chaos. They checked every inch of their house, the attic, the basement, but found nothing. The screams continued for another week, always at midnight, before they stopped as suddenly as they had begun, leaving the family forever haunted by the sound they could never explain. This next piece of footage is one of the most unsettling things I have ever seen. It was taken by a father, Michael, who was at a local park with his daughter. He was filming her playing on the swings, just a normal, happy family moment. In the background of the shot you can see another child, a little boy in a red shirt, playing alone near the slide. The park isn't very crowded, just a few families scattered around. Michael keeps the camera focused on his daughter, but the little boy in red remains in the corner of the frame. As Michael's daughter gets off the swings and runs towards the camera, he pans to follow her. For a few seconds the little boy in red is out of the shot. When Michael pans back to the playground area just a moment later, the boy is gone. Not just off the slide or running to another part of the park, he has completely vanished. Michael, reviewing the footage later, assumed the boy must have just run off camera, but he decided to watch the clip again, this time more carefully. And what he found is truly chilling. If you watch the footage in slow motion, right before Michael pans the camera away, you can see the little boy in red. He's standing at the top of the slide. He doesn't slide down. He doesn't climb back down the ladder. In the space of a single frame, he just disappears. He's there one moment, and in the next, he's gone. There's a slight flicker on the video, almost like a digital glitch, right where he was standing. Michael said he asked other parents at the park if they had seen a little boy in a red shirt, but no one had. It was as if he was never there at all, a ghost on the playground visible only to the camera's lens. Our final video takes us to an office building in Asia, and it's a terrifying reminder that sometimes the most mundane places can become arenas of pure horror. A man, who we'll call Jin, was working late one night and was the last person to leave his floor. He got into the elevator to head down to the lobby. The security camera inside the elevator captures what happens next. The ride starts normally. The doors close and the elevator begins its descent, but then, it shudders to a violent halt between floors. The lights flicker erratically, plunging Jin into moments of complete darkness. Jin, clearly annoyed at first, presses the emergency call button, but there's no response. He tries prying the doors open, but they won't budge. As the lights continue to flicker, a sense of panic starts to set in. He's trapped, but he's not alone. In the moments when the lights are on, you can see his reflection in the polished metal doors. But in one of the brief flashes of light, a second reflection appears beside his. It's a dark, shadowy figure standing right behind him. The lights go out again, and when they come back on, the figure is gone. Jin, however, whips his head around as if he felt a sudden cold spot or heard a whisper. The experience escalates from there. The elevator starts to shake violently, and the lights flicker in a frantic strobe effect. During these flashes, the shadowy figure is seen again, this time closer, its form more defined. It appears to be a woman with long, dark hair covering her face. Jin is now in a full-blown panic, cowering in the corner of the elevator, screaming for help. The last few seconds of the footage show the lights going out one final time, and in the pitch black, we hear a blood-curdling scream from Jin, followed by a sickening thud. The video cuts out. According to the building's security report, the elevator was found empty in the lobby the next morning, with no sign of Jin. And there you have it. 6 videos that peel back the veneer of our normal, everyday world to show us the unsettling darkness that can lie just beneath the surface. From a shadow gliding down a hallway to a child vanishing into thin air, these are the moments that defy easy answers. They force us to confront the possibility that we are not alone, and that some things are just not meant to be understood. The real question is, what do you do with that knowledge? How do you go back to your normal life after seeing something you can't explain? Did any of these videos haunt you? Was there one in particular that sent a shiver down your spine and made you look over your shoulder? Let us know in the comments if you'll be able to sleep tonight. I'm genuinely curious to know which one got to you the most. Was it the doll, the face in the mirror, or something else entirely? The world is full of these strange, dark, and mysterious stories, and the more we share them, the more we realize how thin the veil between our world and another might actually be. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the shadows. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. If you enjoy content that explores the unexplained and the terrifying, please consider liking this video and hitting that subscribe button. We have so many more stories to share, so many more mysteries to delve into. Until then, try to get some sleep. And whatever you do, don't look in the mirror for too long.